Imagine this. You are at a dinner with friends, riding public transit, or waiting in line at a coffee shop. What does 99% of the population do in those empty, micro moments? Pull out their phone, unlock the screen, mindlessly swipe up. We are all playing our parts in the same massive digital theatre. But suddenly you meet someone different. You ask for their Instagram handle, to send them a meme or tag them in a photo, and they look at you with total serenity and say, "Oh, I don't have social media." None of it. What's the very first thing you think? Admit it. A knee-jerk prejudice or doubt usually creeps in. We think, how weird. They must be a hermit. They're hiding something. Or they must be incredibly boring and disconnected from the real world. There is a false belief that stepping off this train is an act of antisocial isolation or intellectual arrogance. But today we are going to completely bust that myth. What if I told you that those who choose not to use social media aren't running away from the world, but are actually protecting their mental architecture? What if their brains are operating under a default setting of peace, focus, and authenticity that most of us have long forgotten? Today we're putting on our scientist lab coats and mentor suits to analyse what is truly happening inside the minds of these individuals. Get ready, because understanding their psychology is going to give you a completely new perspective on your own mind and your freedom. The 9 psychological and neuroscientific pillars. Resistance to the false dopaminergic advantage. Let's talk pure brain chemistry. Every time you get a notification, or watch a short video with a catchy tune, your brain releases a hit of dopamine, the neurotransmitter of anticipation and reward. Social media operates on a psychological mechanism called intermittent reinforcement, exactly like casino slot machines. You never know when the reward will hit, so you keep pulling the lever. People who don't use social media have broken this loop. By not subjecting their brains to this constant bombardment, their dopamine receptors self-regulate. It's not that they don't seek pleasure, it's that they train their brains to enjoy low-intensity, long-term rewards like reading a book, finishing a hands-on project, or holding a long conversation without glancing at a flashing screen. Rejecting Carl Jung's persona. The famous psychiatrist Carl Jung coined the concept of the persona, the social mask we construct to fit into the world and meet others' expectations. In the digital age, social media forces us to create an ultra-polished, edited, and filtered persona 2.0. Those who choose to live off these platforms usually notice the immense cognitive weight required to maintain that mask. Managing a digital profile demands a constant performance. What I eat, where I travel, what I think. By quitting social media, these individuals protect their authentic self. They prefer their identity to be defined by real, direct actions rather than a two-dimensional collection of perfect photos. It is an act of psychological integrity, immunity to upward social comparison. In 1954, psychologist Leon Festinger proposed the social comparison theory. He explained that humans evaluate their own worth by comparing themselves to others. The problem is that on social media, we only see people's highlight reels, their best vacations, edited bodies, and inflated achievements. This triggers what psychology calls upward social comparison, which destroys self-esteem because we feel our real, imperfect lives will never measure up. People without social media eliminate this poison from their daily routine. Their reference point becomes internal or strictly local. By not being exposed to the hyper-curated lives of thousands of strangers, they experience significantly lower levels of anxiety, envy and frustration, high capacity for emotional regulation. What do you do when you feel bored, sad, lonely, or anxious? For many, the phone serves as an emotional security blanket. We open an app to numb the discomfort of the moment. Behavioral science shows that people who avoid social media are forced to develop intrinsic, emotional regulation. If they feel bored, they inhabit the boredom, which stimulates creativity. If they feel sad or anxious, they process the emotion instead of distracting themselves with digital noise. They don't run from their internal states, they move through them, which builds much stronger psychological resilience in the long run, shielding against the mobile connectivity paradox. Here is a fascinating neuroscientific concept that psychologists call the connectivity paradox. In theory, devices and platforms unite us. In practice, they generate a sense of constant obligation. You have to reply to the message now. You have to react to an acquaintance's story. You have to stay up to date with the latest Twitter controversy. This invisible demand keeps the nervous system in a mild but chronic state of alert, elevating cortisol, the stress hormone, levels. Those who live without social media break this chain. They reclaim ownership of their attention. They don't suffer from FOMO, fear of missing out. Instead, they actively practice JOMO, joy of missing out, the pure joy of missing the noise of the world to gain peace of mind, preserving intimacy and reducing performative theatre. Nowadays, it seems that if a concert isn't recorded, a delicious meal isn't photographed, or a good deed isn't posted, it didn't happen. We have turned existence into a performative theatre. People who don't use social media retain something that is becoming extinct: mystery and privacy. When they attend an event or enjoy a landscape, the experience is etched into their cerebral cortex, an emotional memory, not onto a cloud server. The experience belongs entirely to them and those with them, free from the need for external validation or approval from a digital audience. Deep focus and conserving cognitive capital. Our attention is a finite resource. Every notification, every format switch between one 15-second reel and the next fragments our concentration span, deteriorating what neuroscience calls the brain's executive function. It becomes harder to read long texts, analyze complex problems, or engage in deep work. Those outside these platforms tend to keep their cognitive capital intact. Their neural circuits are not trained for constant hypertextual jumping. This allows them to enter flow states with greater ease, achieving levels of productivity, mental clarity, and intellectual peace far above the average hyper-connected population. Relationships based on high-density network theory. It's easy to boast about having 800 friends on a platform, but evolutionary psychology, through the famous Dunbar's number, proves that the human brain only has the capacity to maintain around 150 stable relationships, and only a handful of those are truly deep. Social media encourages superficial relationships based on low-cost interactions. People without social media invest their social energy completely differently. They prefer high-density, phone calls, in-person visits, meaningful direct messages. Their bonds are not sustained by an algorithm, they are sustained by genuine interest. They might have fewer contacts in volume, but the quality of their emotional support network is usually much more intimate and protective. The attention amnesia phenomenon and autobiographical memory. There is a fascinating concept in modern cognitive psychology known as the photo-taking impairment effect. Studies show that when we externalize our experiences to a device, meaning when we focus on recording a video for a story or capturing the perfect shot for our feed, our brain assumes the phone is saving the memory for us. The result, the prefrontal cortex and the hippocampus reduce their activity and record the moment with much less sharpness. People who don't use social media are free from this digital amnesia. By not fragmenting their experience between living the moment and showing the moment, their autobiographical memory solidifies in a much richer and deeper way. They don't need to scroll through a highlights archive to remember what made them happy 3 years ago. Their brain took care of locking in the experience with all its real colour, scent and emotional weight. So let's go back to the initial question. Are they weird? Are they hermits? Not at all. As we have just seen, the psychology of people who do not use social media reveals that far from being a weakness or an eccentricity, their choice is often a brilliant strategy for self-preservation. They have chosen to protect their dopamine, guard their identity, shield their attention, and prioritize real human bonds over digital applause from strangers. This doesn't mean you need to delete all your accounts tomorrow and throw your phone into a river. Social media networks are tools, and like any tool, the secret lies in who controls whom. Are you using the platform, or is the platform using you? If this analysis brought you some clarity, and you want to keep exploring the mysteries of human psychology with a scientific and empathetic foundation, give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Leave me a comment below. Have you ever considered leaving social media entirely or setting a strict limit on it? I'd love to hear your thoughts. See you in the next video. Take care of your mind.